Dang guys, I went to Harbor Freight to get the $79 8-inch Bauer drill press, and I ended up coming home with a 12-inch. Now this one was a lot more expensive. This was $249 on sale, which is a lot more than I was planning on spending, but this thing had a couple features that I was interested in, and we're gonna explore those together. Let's just get this thing together and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay guys, I've foregone the unboxing because that just takes way too much time. Basically, here's the parts: the base, the column, and the headstock, and the table. So those are the big parts. There's some smaller parts here. There's a couple handles and some set screws, some bolts. There's some feed handles. Now this is the most interesting one to me. This is the speed control handle. So I'm excited about learning about that. And the chuck is pretty big. It's pretty substantial, but there's no threads there. So this is just a press fit chuck. Okay, we'll have to get that pressed in and figure that out. All right, let's start getting it together. Okay, the first thing we did is just got the column attached to the base. It's 4 16mm bolts. Now these lock handles look identical, so we're going to use one for the table and one for this part right here that raises and lowers the table. Okay, so one will go here, one will go on the front here. Okay, so just a word of caution, when you're tightening this down, don't overdo it. I've broken one of these on a Central Machinery. Of course, that's from Harbor Freight also. It was an old one, you know, it's probably 15 or 20 years old, but I busted one of these off, had to weld it back on. It's cast, it's not easy to weld because I don't have those skills, but just check your table, you know, wiggle it, tighten it some, wiggle it, tighten it some. If it stops wiggling, stop there. Try not to overdo it because these aren't exactly, you just can't crank on them, so be careful. Okay, next we'll put this handle on here, just using their supplied Allen key. Okay, got the headstock on. Now there's just a little set screw right here. We'll just use their Allen wrench that they supplied. And speed handle goes on this side right here. Chuck, obviously, arbor, spindle. They want you to seat this first with a rubber mallet, then we'll seat this. Just make sure that your jaws are retracted all the way inside this space right here. Now, when you go to put the arbor in, you can see that it has a little kind of keyway or a key. And so just put it in, kind of rotate it, and then you'll kind of feel it drop inside. And there, it's locked right there. And I took it out a couple times just to make sure. Yep, and that's about 180 right there. Now the jaws are retracted. We're going to set the chuck on the arbor. Same thing. Okay, I don't know if it takes that many whacks, but that's how many I'm doing. Now the chuck's on the arbor, which is inside the spindle. So this seems to be working. And to remove it, there's a little trick that you do, or not a trick, but the instructions say to, you know, turn this to where that slot in there lines up with this slot lines up with the inner slot. And so you can turn it both directions, I guess. But that little piece in there that's sticking up inside that inner slot is the top of the arbor. And so they sent this tool, and I was wondering, what is this thing for? But this is so you can slide this in here, a little angle I'm assuming you put down, and then tap that right here, and that'll push the arbor down, and then it'll fall out. Okay, now to adjust the table tilt to make sure it's square with or perpendicular to the drill bit, I don't have a rod to put in here, so I'm just using a big drill bit. This is a 19mm this bolt that's underneath here, and you just loosen the bolt, tilt the table one way or the other to get it square. And I'm just using a square like this to get it square. It's taken a few tries because I can get it perfect, of course, and then when you go to tighten it, it moves a little bit. So, okay, that's pretty good. Now also, there's a little gauge right there, and it's showing 0 is right in line with the 0 line there. Okay, so that confirms that it is straight. Okay, so there's a little LED light here. That's right there. That'll give you some kind of backlit light, which is kind of nice actually. And we'll turn that off, but let's turn on the laser, and hopefully that's coming out there. Can't see it, obviously, where the drill bit's gonna hit. So let's use a little piece of steel here. Just I'm sure you could use a piece of wood. We're gonna clamp it here and see if the crosshairs on the laser there line up with the bit. Okay, let's just drill a hole. This is super thin, so I'm not too worried about speed. And so we're gonna just, it's about 1,000. So we're just gonna drop this here and see if it, okay, that seems like, now there's a lot of washout with the camera that you don't really see with your naked eye, but it looks like it's right in the center. Now, the lasers shine from back here, okay? So the lasers are actually right here and right over there, okay? So there's 2 of them, and they're shining forward. These are the these are the tightening screws right here, and you can loosen those and adjust the laser left and right so that it shines wherever your drill hole is, okay? So this one's actually pretty good. This came like this. I'm not gonna mess with it. Loosen this little set screw. Now we're gonna rotate this. Left and right. Now I'm gonna turn it to the right. You can see what happens. I'm gonna turn it to the left and you can see what happens. Okay, now is the light bright? So I just have the overhead lights on. I've turned off my surgery lights and we'll turn on the light, and that's pretty bright. Obviously the chuck casts a shadow, but where your work is, it still shows up nicely. That's a good little light, I like it. Okay, got this down on the floor level so I can actually work on it. So they had a screw here and I was like, oh, that should be a quick release, but the idea is that you don't have to get in here. You know, like my old drill press, and I've had a couple of these, they have a little knob here, and you got to get in here to move the belts. If you want to change speeds, you got to move this one up and this one up and down and whatever. So that's how the old ones work, right? This one automatically adjusts, and this is the coolest thing ever. So I was wondering how, I understood, that this pulley here would split wider, and that would allow this chuck to speed up, because now this is a much smaller gear basically, or a much smaller pulley, so this would spin faster. But what I couldn't figure out was how they maintain the tension, because as this pulley expands here, I'll show you that in a minute when it's running, how the belt's going to get loose, because this is going to go further inside the pulley. The belt's going to go further inside the pulley. Well, actually, it might not be easy to see here. Let me turn the camera sort of sideways and drop it down here. There's a spring in there. So this spring that's right here is keeping constant tension on this lower pulley right here, okay? And so as this gets closer together, it pulls the belt further out this way, which pulls the belt harder this way, which pushes this down, and the spring is what maintains the tension, the spring underneath this one. Excellent. I mean, it's just an amazing idea, whoever came up with this. So let's see it in action. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to start off slow in basically the lowest position right here, and then we're going to roll it this way and speed it up like this, okay? And so let's just start it up here. You can see it run. And this is, what does that say? 620. So not quite the very slowest, but you can see how big that one is, how open it is back there. And now I'm going to speed it up now, and let's watch the 2 pulleys and see what happens. So that's wide open right there. That's top speed. So So this pulley opened up all the way, and this pulley closed. And this is, I don't know if that's coming out in the camera, 3080, 3090, so close to 3100. Now we're going to slow it down again. That pulley fully opened, and this one closed. And now the speed's pretty dang slow. 520. Now, why is this awesome? To me, this is awesome because I never really adjusted my belt speed. I always just put it on kind of a low speed because a lot of times I drill on heavy, thick steel. And if you drill steel, you know that speed creates heat, and heat is the enemy of your drill bit's life. So speed equals heat equals shorter drill bit life. So the faster you're drilling, because you want to get it done quicker, the shorter your drill bit life's going to be. And I always wondered why I could use a regular drill, a handheld drill, and my bit wouldn't last very long, or would go dull pretty quick. But I could drill and drill and drill with this old drill press, hole after hole after hole, with nice steady even pressure, and it has to do with the speed. And also, when I'm drilling with this, I tend to use my cutting fluid as well. I'll drip a drop or two of cutting fluid on just to help keep it cool. So with this drill press, what I'm super excited about this is it's so easy to adjust. I'm probably going to adjust it. We'll get a drill bit speed chart based on the thickness of your steel you're drilling, right? And it'll tell you, based on the material that you're drilling and how thick it is, what your RPM should be. And okay, now it's easy. Now I'm going to, if it's 3/8 thick steel, I'm going to set it for the whatever speed it is that's best for 3/8 for drill bit life. And of course, I'll still use some cutting fluid on it, but that's going to make my drill bits last even longer. So this is an investment in a machine that's easily adjustable. So out with the old, in with the new. Okay, I'm going to bolt it down, but man, I remembered that they sent this, and I could use this for pretty much everything. Now, is it as fun with this than it is with regular tools or as fast? No, this is a little slower, but you can do pretty much everything. It's hard to see that bolt up in there, but this is the table tilt adjuster, and so we'll keep this wrench close. That is the 19 millimeter that allows you to loosen or tighten it. Okay, this end actually fits these bolts down here, which were 16 millimeter. So we could have done that with that. And then these two slots on the side fit these arms. And so this one fits the speed control right here. And then the bigger one, of course, fits these feed control knobs. So is this thing worth it? Is it worth $250 on sale? Initially, I have to say yes, I'm pretty happy with this. Of course, longevity, who knows? How long is it going to last? My old Harbor Freight stuff, the old tools from Central Machinery, like this thing, I've had this for 20-something years. And so when it was given to me, so by my father-in-law, because he had got another one, it was handing me this one. So I used this for a long time. And I don't use it every day by any means, but I beat it up pretty bad, and it vibrates and makes a lot of noise and isn't real stable, but it drills holes. So if this one lasts 20 years, I'll be happy. It's got a lot of cool features on it. The table that turns, and this little thing that slides out to support your work, and the depth control, and the little laser is kind of cool, and that'll get me lined up pretty close to what I'm, close to where I want to put my drill hole. What I'm most excited about, of course, is the infinite speed control, and that just makes it so easy to change speeds. And if that helps, prolong my drill bit life, that's awesome. If that saves me money in drill bits, that's awesome. And so drill bits, especially good quality ones, aren't cheap. And so I'm excited about that. All right, so this is item number 58781. And of course, Harbor Freight doesn't give me anything for these videos. I just think this is a cool tool that I'm super excited about. And hope this helps you guys. And I'll see you in the next video.